Hey there, listener. So this episode is a little bit late, and this season is a little bit late. Real life, it's been kicking me in the butt a little bit recently. But we're back. Season 4 begins now. Sorry for the delay. I hope you find it worth the wait. This episode goes out to our patron, A. Howard. More like the Howard, am I right? Hi there, Garrett Robinson here. Welcome to the first episode of the Nightblade Epic Podcast Season 4. Hey listener, welcome back to the show. Season 4 is going to be epic. This is where the story of Underrealm takes on grand new proportions and grows beyond the simple story of a forest girl named Lauren. And at the end of this season, we've got an extremely special surprise for you about the future of the show. One we know you're going to love. But before we get into the show proper, I'd like to start with a couple of reminder announcements. Remouncements, if you will. You probably won't. First up, with the Tales of the Wanderer Volume 1 now available, that means an update to the Underrealm full hardcover collection. This collection of 5 huge Underrealm books contains every volume of every story in the world of Underrealm so far. You'll get all 6 novels of the Nightblade epic, as well as all 3 books from the Academy Journals and Tales of the Wanderer series. The full hardcover collection provides all these stories, over 1 million words in fact, for a huge discount over buying the individual books. It's the best way to dive into this fantasy world. To order your collection today, go to underrealm.net/books. That's underrealm.net/books. Next, I'd like to encourage you to support this show on Patreon. Hopefully, you're here because you enjoy the show. Well, this show is possible because of the incredible support we receive from our community, especially those of you who support us on Patreon. Patreon is a voluntary subscription service where you can contribute a little bit each month to your favorite creators. For just $1 a month, or more than $1 a month, you can read Underrealm books as I write them, read finished books weeks before they're available on Amazon, or a whole bunch of other cool perks. Check them all out and become a supporter at underrealm.net/Patreon. That's underrealm.net/Patreon. Okay, now it's time for today's episode. Today, you're getting Chapter 1 of Shadeborn, the 4th book in the Nightblade epic. When we left off, Lauren and her friends were recovering in the town of Northwood, where they had run into Lauren's lifelong friend, Chet. Jordell had only recently been killed in the mountains, and Chet had told Lauren that she had accidentally killed her father before leaving home all those months ago. Enjoy! Shadeborn, Chapter 1. Lauren slouched in her seat, searching and failing to find any reason why this day should be better than the one before. Her companions still lay upstairs in slumber. Even Albern had not yet risen, though the bowyer always woke before the coming of the sun. But Lauren had been awake through the night, unable to close her eyes for fear of what she would see in her dreams. So a cup of wine had turned into 2, and then a bottle, and some food just as the moon set, and now the sky outside crept towards the gray of dawn. The innkeeper, Mag, stood behind the counter, polishing it with a damp rag, though to Lauren's mind it shone bright already. Every so often the woman would gaze around the room, observing those within, the early wakers who had joined Lauren for breakfast, or the nighttime arrivals who had come to the city of Northwood for purposes unknown, and, mayhap, best not asked after. Mag's gaze never sought Lauren in particular, but neither did it shy away. In the days since Lauren and her friends had first arrived at the inn, that was what Lauren appreciated the most. Whatever thoughts Mag kept to herself, outwardly she never treated Lauren different from any other customer. Lauren could not say the same for the others, who mostly sought to avoid her gaze. Either that, or they tried to draw her into conversation, speaking soft words she was not yet ready to hear. All of them, except Chet, of course. Mag noticed Lauren's empty goblet, hers the keen eyes of a barkeep with experience. She sidled out from behind the thick oak counter and made her way across the room. Without a word, she scooped up the goblet, as well as an empty bowl. "Will you be wanting anything else, love?" The words held neither judgment nor too much concern. It was as though Lauren were any other girl who happened to be visiting the inn. Yet in that plain tone, Lauren thought she heard another kind of care. "Another glass of wine would suit me well, except that I feel my debt to you grows large," said Lauren. "When will you let me cease to be a burden and pay for my custom like the rest of your patrons?" "Another time, Mayup, but not yet." Mag swept up the cup and dropped it in the bowl before returning to the bar. From the shelves she pulled a clean cup for Lauren's wine, and then another, which she filled with ale. She brought them both to the table, and to Lauren's surprise took the seat opposite. "Now at last she means to speak her mind," thought Lauren. She should have expected it. Mag had seemed more understanding, less intrusive than any of the others, but she must have felt the way they did all along, and chosen now to finally say something. Lauren wondered idly why she had waited so long. "I have heard what the others say to you, trying to urge you towards better spirits," said Mag. "You must know that they are wrong, and that this is not something you should try to hasten." Lauren blinked. "Those are not the words I thought to hear." "I imagine not," said Mag, smiling gently and sipping her ale. "You thought I would lend my voice to theirs." "They seem to think they know what is best for me, no matter whether I wish to hear it or not." Lauren took a pull from her own cup, a deeper and longer drink than Mag's. "Yet you will note that Alburn has not joined them in their insistence, nor would I. He and I have seen many dark times together. Both of us have felt loss. Both of us have done deeds we wish we could undo, deeds that have haunted us every day since." Lauren saw a flash of a broken body draped in a red cloak. She saw an arrow protruding from a thigh and a hateful man crawling through the dirt. She shivered and blinked hard, drinking again in desperation. Mag's hand came gently to rest upon Lauren's. "Only time can rid us of these wounds. You are fortunate to have that time. Take it, as much as you need. Let the pictures in your mind's eye fade away, one by one, until they trouble you no longer, neither while you sleep nor in your waking hours. It is not something you should try to hurry along, unless the healing stops on its own." Lauren picked at the cuff of her sleeve. Though it had been only a few days since they came to Northwood, she had seen no improvement in her mood, nor in the dark thoughts that plagued her day and night. And what if it does? What did you and Alburn do when the darkness in your minds refused to leave you? Only then are you close to the end. Embracing our grief plants the seed of healing, and once it is well laid, we must take it upon ourselves to foster the growth. If that crop lies untended, it twists within the earth. That is a sorry harvest, and one you have likely seen before. The drunkard who cannot think to spend his time anywhere but the tavern, his coin spent only on oblivion. The wine soured in Lauren's mouth. "You might as well say what you mean. Her coin, yet you will not take mine." Mag's mouth twisted in a stern frown. "If I meant to rebuke you, I would do it without bandying words. I only mean to tell you that when the time comes for your next step, you must take it, or you shall truly lose yourself. Action can help you along the road, any action, though deeds filled with purpose are best. Or sometimes the comfort of another can be our medicine. That boy Chet, for example." he is trying. Often have we gone walking in the birchwood, and under its eaves with him I find something closer to peace than I do with the others, with their soft words and careful glances." Mag gave her a look that lasted a moment too long, and Lauren blushed. Quickly she took another swallow of wine to hide it. "You should eagerly embrace anything that helps," said Mag stoically, and Lauren thought she heard the hint of a smile behind the words. "Remember, do not let the others push you sooner than you are ready. There will be time enough for their cares later. First, you must tend to yourself." Boots clumped heavily down the stairs at the back. Lauren looked up to see Albern descending into the common room. He gave her a quick glance and a half-hearted smile. Mag rose quickly and went to the bar with him, there to take his order and fetch his breakfast. Lauren sat in the quiet and thought upon the innkeeper's words. She did not have long to enjoy her solitude. Soon Albern joined her at the table with his eggs and a rasher of bacon. He spoke no word to her, but he did not have Mag's skill at hiding his curious eyes. And soon Lauren heard boots upon the stairs again, and looked up to see Zane glowering there. The wizard's limbs had gone thin and bony, his cheeks so gaunt that from the outside she could see his teeth pressing against the flesh. His hair was thinning now. Lauren knew that if she tugged on it, it would come out in clumps. He was like a specter of death, and the effect was not lost on the room's other inhabitants. Some had drunk too much to care, but others averted their eyes or stood to leave with quick, muttered excuses, though there was no one close enough to hear them. Zane seemed not to notice, or mayhap he did not care. He stalked towards Lauren and drew out the chair beside hers, slumping in his seat as his eyebrows drew still closer together. He leaned close, his voice a harsh whisper, though Lauren was sure it carried to every corner of the quiet room. "Tell me you have had enough at last of sulking and are ready to take the road again." "Zane," said Albern in a warning tone. His fingers tightened on the handle of his mug. "And a good morrow to you, fair sir," said Lauren. She tried to make the words light, but could not entirely keep an edge from them. "Break fast with us, I pray, and help yourself to some fine wine." She held her cup before him, wiggling it back and forth. Zane failed to appreciate the humor. He snatched the cup from her to drain it in a single gulp. "I take it you do not mean to move on, then. Do you think we have an eternity to waste?" "Have we spent an eternity here already, Albern?" said Lauren, looking towards the bowyer with feigned wonder. "Sky above, I thought it had been a few days only." "Your jests are stale, and grow more so each time the sun passes us," said Zane. "When will we speak, away from this room and its prying ears? Day after day passes, yet still you will not tell me that which you once thought so urgent." She knew full well what the wizard meant. They had not yet decided where they must go next, and Lauren had grave counsel for him, which might shed light upon their path. But that counsel had come from Jordell, the mystic, and he had died moments after uttering the words. Recalling them now was akin to recalling the man, and Lauren could not think of him without her heart wanting to stop in grief. Nor had the past week made it any easier, for in Northwood she had learned a dark truth. A truth about herself and about the cruel man she had shot in the thigh. The man she had once called father, but whom, by her own hand, no one would speak to ever again. "Soon," said Lauren, her voice quieter than she meant it to be. "I promise you. Only give me a little more time. My grief still presses itself too close upon me." Zane growled. His gaze darted about as though searching for another argument. Without thinking, he picked at his coat sleeve. A deep hunger gnawed at him, Lauren knew, and his mind was not entirely his own. She was only grateful it was not like last time, when his thoughts had grown so dark that she had feared to be in the same room as him. "Good morn," said a familiar voice, a warm and welcome sound. Chet appeared by Lauren's side. "Good morn," said Lauren quickly. She rose from her chair before Zane could choose his next bitter words. But she had moved too fast, forgetting the many cups of wine that had passed her lips. She lurched and nearly fell, and would have, had she not seized the edge of the table. She steadied herself quickly, cheeks flushing with embarrassment. "I thought to greet the sun from under the branches of the birchwood. Would you join me?" Chet looked worried. "Are you sure you need no rest? Did you find any sleep last night?" "Who needs sleep when the world is waking? Come." Lauren seized his arm and nearly dragged him from the table, taking each step carefully to see that she did not stumble. As they walked away together, she thought she saw Alburn trying to hide a smile. This has been a production of Legacy Books, written and narrated by Garrett Robinson. The music in this podcast was created by Will Musser. Check out his incredible work at willmusser.com. That's WILLMUSSER.com. Today's letter is L. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.